You know that feeling, right? You're sitting at your desk, desperately trying to focus on something super important, but the sheer noise of the open office around you makes it literally impossible. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into the absolutely counterintuitive science of workplace acoustics to figure out how to solve that exact problem. We're going to look at some really fascinating case studies from the experts at Automated AV that reveal how, surprisingly enough, adding sound to a room actually creates privacy and focus. Let's get into it.
So think about modern open office designs for a second. The paradox of the open office is that while they look absolutely great, they often sound, well, terrible. But let's ask a crucial question. Is it actually the sheer volume that's ruining our productivity in these spaces, or is it something else entirely?
See, it is almost never the overall decibel level that wears people down. It's not the low hum of the AC or the general bustling energy of the room. The real culprit? It's the distinct, intelligible background conversations. It is that one coworker loudly recapping their entire weekend while you are just trying to write a complex email. Our human brains are naturally wired to decode language, so when distinct words carry across a room, they completely hijack our attention.
Section 1. The Paradox of Quiet.
Okay, most people assume the obvious fix to office distraction is just mandating silence, right? Building thicker walls or doing whatever it takes to make the space completely quiet. But in a professional workspace, absolute silence is a myth that actually backfires. It creates what acoustic engineers call the library effect. You know what I'm talking about? When a room is dead quiet, a single dropped pen, a cleared throat, or a whispered conversation suddenly sounds like a gunshot. It creates a really tense, anxious environment. The true practical reality is that to fix a distracting workspace, you actually have to introduce a balanced, ambient background sound.
Section 2. Engineering acoustic privacy.
So the technique used to achieve this is called sound masking, and it is this brilliant method of bringing in an ambient sound that is specifically engineered to reduce how clearly distant conversations travel. And here is the absolutely vital insight behind this tech. The goal isn't to make the sound disappear entirely. Actually, the goal is to make human speech unintelligible. The magic is that nearby conversations stay perfectly clear to the people involved, but voices farther away, they become this blurred, unintelligible hum. And if our brains can't decode the words, we simply stop paying attention to them.
This whole process happens in 3 remarkably seamless steps. First up, a dedicated controller generates a digitally tuned masking sound, which, by the way, usually just mimics the natural airflow of a really advanced ventilation system. Second, directional emitters, which are installed right up into the ceiling grid, distribute that sound evenly across the workspace so you don't get any weird, highly concentrated loud spots. And third, distant conversations seamlessly fade into that blurred background. What's so cool about this is how invisible it is. It's high-level acoustic engineering hiding right about our heads, turning chaos into calm without anyone ever noticing the tech itself.
Section 3. Case Study, Financial Privacy.
Let's look at a real-world, high-stakes environment where speech privacy isn't just a nice-to-have luxury, it's an absolute necessity. Take a Fifth Third Bank office located down in Charlotte, North Carolina. They faced a really serious operational challenge. In their open layout, consultations and phone calls were just carrying way too far. I mean, imagine the anxiety a client feels if they realize someone 3 desks away can hear their account balances, their loan details, or their personal financial struggles. The employees really needed to focus, but even more importantly, the bank had to eliminate this massive privacy liability. To completely solve this, the Automated AV team engineered a highly precise system utilizing exactly 16 directional emitters. And, that number 16 isn't just some random guess. Acoustic engineering is a super precise mathematical grid tailored specifically to a room's exact dimensions and ceiling height. By pairing 16 Biamp directional emitters with a Cambridge QTX controller, they created this perfectly even, localized coverage that kept those sensitive financial discussions contained strictly to the desks where they were actually happening.
Section 4. Case Study, Healthcare Confidentiality.
Now, the need for privacy gets even more intense when we escalate the stakes to medical confidentiality. Let's examine an Octapharma healthcare office, also in Charlotte. In a medical clinic, the front desk is notoriously vulnerable. Patients absolutely have to feel comfortable sharing deeply personal medical information, their health history, and insurance details right at check-in. It is a fundamental ethical and legal necessity that they don't have this lingering fear of being overheard across a sprawling open workspace filled with hallway movement and ringing phones.
Because of the much larger, complex nature of this clinic, the installation required a massive scale-up to 49 ceiling-mounted Biamp directional emitters. But here is the really brilliant business insight. It lies in the central controller. They paired those 49 emitters with a Cambridge QTX 300 controller that was built with 2 extra zones already programmed in. Talk about smart engineering, right? They accounted for future business growth from day one. This design means the masking system can effortlessly expand into new wings as the clinic grows, all without ever needing to rip out and replace the main controller.
When we take a step back and contrast these two projects directly, the flexibility of this technology is honestly amazing. On one hand, you have a highly targeted 16-emitter setup securing a wealth management floor to protect financial data. On the other, a massive 49-emitter system securing a sprawling medical facility to ensure absolute patient confidentiality. It's the exact same core engineering and hardware adapting flawlessly to completely different operational needs and physical spaces, a real game changer. Section 5. The bottom line. So when these masking systems are finally flipped on, the after state of the office is literally night and day. Think about what a truly settled environment feels like. You walk in and that harsh, jagged sharpness of the room is instantly smoothed out. The person at the desk next to you might be on a phone call, but instead of aggressively pulling your attention, their voice is just a soft, unintelligible hum. Conversations stay contained. Employees can effortlessly slip into a flow state, and the overall atmosphere just feels completely calm and business appropriate, even during the absolute most chaotic, busy periods of the day.
And look, far from being some unreachable luxury reserved just for big tech giants, these systems actually act as really affordable permanent building assets. To put it in perspective, the financial project came in fully installed for under $6,000, and that expansive healthcare setup was under $15,000. When you contrast that one-time installation cost against the recurring, invisible cost of dozens of employees losing hundreds of hours of focus and productivity every single week, well, it becomes pretty clear that this is a highly accessible, fundamentally necessary solution for basically any business.
Ultimately, an open office shouldn't just look visually modern. It has to function beautifully for the people actually working inside it every day. So I want to leave you with this final thought to consider about your own environment. Ask yourself, is your workspace designed strictly for how it looks, or is it designed for how it sounds? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the quiet.